Happy Sunday, everyone. Sunday, the 18th of August, and a very beautiful full moon tomorrow. So, whether or not you feel the energies and whether or not they're increased now for you doesn't really matter. There's a lot of people struggling at the moment energetically, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So I thought I would come on today. This is for you. I'm in 30 minutes early and I've come in just to do some healings. But first, I want to explain a little bit about, hey, Kriba, a little bit about how this works so that you can understand what's going on really. So, just like you can't see how your phone connects to the tower, that's an energy. There's actually crystals in there. And they utilize crystals for that because it's a transmitter. We also have crystals in our brain on our pineal gland. And when your pineal gland is clean and activated, you too can connect to all the energy that is. And so let's give some examples, right? So in the quantum field, which is kind of where most of these energies come in, we are connected all together. Where you hear a lot about consciousness and connected consciousness. And so that connection with each other, when you feel heard and you sit and have a conversation with someone and you feel heard and you feel really connected, you have a lot in common, you have a really good rapport going, your hearts are connecting. And how a cell is born and becomes this avatar, this body, is a single cell, an egg. And the sperm comes into the egg and a flash goes off, a photonic. And that is how it begins. And so everything is energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So therefore, there's much more that we cannot see. Some really good examples would be when you get a shock, right? You can't tell that's coming. You don't know that's coming. It just kind of happens. Well, it's an activation, or how some animals really love you, or maybe a bird will come and fly into your hand. That's an energy. Dogs and cats read energy. That's what they do. So a dog will go towards people with good energy and bark at people with not so good energy. And so you can see how this is playing out in real time, and remembering that these eyes can only see so much of the light spectrum. We're very, very limited in what we can see. And as we move forward and energy speeds up and more awareness comes into it, I do believe there will be devices to assist us with this, and we will tap in more and be able to see more, feel more. I was starting to see aura today, and you have to look past somebody to see it, but it was kind of in my face more than me having to put extra attention and energy to it. It was just showing up, which was quite beautiful. And so maybe you're starting to get goosebumps when you hear something that's true. And so your body's always speaking to you. It's whether or not you're so caught up in the mind still that you can't feel, right? And feel those emotions. And then remembering that energy is in motion, is an emotion. And they come and they go. Just like thoughts. Thoughts are not facts. You're not your thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts come in, you're like, where did that come from? Whether it be good or it be bad, you can choose whether or not to act on it. So I invite you today to just tap into your body and see how you feel as we go through this. So I invite everyone to take a nice deep breath. You can keep your eyes open, you can close your eyes, but if you close your eyes, you're probably going to feel a little bit more, because when we shut down one of our senses, the other ones are opened up more. So you'll often hear that somebody, that can't hear is more tapped in other ways, and somebody that can't see is more tapped in other ways. And that's beautiful too. So, all right, I'm going to get you to take a few deep breaths. Breathe as you choose, but try and take a shorter breath in and a longer breath out. That will help to calm the vagus nerve. Hi, Shay. Hi, Andrea. And so energy goes through me. Not unlike Tesla was creating all these devices that would capture energy and we would have free energy. This is the same idea. If you are willing to be open and accept, and we're all healers. I'm definitely I mean, the gift that I've got is a frequency, a vibration that I've cultivated over 10 years now of working on self, clearing what needs to be cleared, and that's a constant job, trust me. There's always something popping up that needs, some love, so to speak, or some attention, intention. And so as I'm doing this, you can't see my hands, but my hands are doing some work. I'm not even paying attention to what they're doing. They're just doing what needs to be done. And quite often we can feel these energies and we're just going to envelope you. Maybe you have some body pain somewhere. If you've got an ache or something somewhere, put some intention there. Hello, Leanne. And I want you to put a color to it, whatever color you want, whatever color feels right. And I want you to breathe into that area intentionally with some love. You may want to tap your chest to get out of your head and to get more into your body. And drop those shoulders. Just relax your body. With every breath, try and relax your body more till your toes are even relaxed. We hold a lot of tension in our body unconsciously. So when we can become conscious of it, such as maybe clenching our jaw or um, a lot of people hold in their stomachs, just to let it relax. And when we take deeper breaths into the belly and fill our lungs, you have more little hairs on the bottom of your lungs than you do on the top. It'll flood your body with oxygen and therefore calming you down as well. So going to the breath is always a good way to start. Staying very present for when we worry about the past, we can be depressed. And if we're hanging on and waiting for the future and worrying about the future, we can have anxiety. So, right now, in this moment, focus on the breath. There's all different types of breath you can do. There's energetic breaths, more of a heavy, deep breathing that brings you into different states. There's some more gentle breath work. It's good to do whatever resonates for you, but knowing it can really help to clear things out of the body. That, and of course, fasting. And I would start with intermittent, as we've discussed before. But if I were, or someone I knew that was open to it, to ever have any sort of cancer, an immediate fasting, as much as long as possible, will allow the body to regenerate and it will do its job. Whenever I start to feel something coming on, and it's your body releasing energy. Any kind of flu symptom or cold symptom is your body releasing energy and letting go and helping to purge what no longer serves you. And so whenever this happens for me, I tend to go to fasting, or bone broths are really good. If you have a hard time fasting, some really good bone broths would be great. Vegetable juices don't, a lot of things feed on the sugar, so it's good to avoid the sugar, even fruits at that point. I'm just going to get you to visualize beautiful light, whatever color you've got, scanning your body now and expanding the light from where you started, but just expanding that out from wherever you are, where you can start at the top of your head and go down and through the body, making note of where anything needs a little wiggle, a release. And just allow it to go down all the way through the body, over the head and the neck and the shoulders, arms, your chest, your back, all the way through the stomach, your lower abdomen, your hips, your forearms, your hands, your legs, down to the knees, over those knees that support you so much. And very important, they take us everywhere we want to go. It's amazing how we manifest. We think oh, I got to go to the bathroom. Automatically, your body's already registered. It's getting up and it's doing it. That's a form of manifestation, instant. And so you're always manifesting in every moment, every word, every action, every thought, down to the ankles, the feet, over the feet, through the toes, down to the toes. And your hands and your feet are like terminals, like a battery. You are electromagnetic. And so you have chakras on your hands and your feet and all your fingers. And if you're so called to do so, you could put your hands up and ask to be activated. Your hands may start to tingle. You can place your hands somewhere on your body that needs some extra love. And possibly in this relaxed state, you may get a little message here and there. And imagine that your feet are on Mother Earth and you're grounding in right now, that you're connected. Even just the thought will create an action there. And then as you breathe in, bring that energy back up to the top of your head. And imagine about a foot above your head is where it's meeting, and it's flowing around you now, all around you like a fountain. You may feel some tingling. Quite often, where your attention goes, energy flows and creates a sensation. This is why we always want to be careful of what we're willing to give our energy to. Whatever we consume with these eyes, these ears, and this mouth is creating us and our reality. We've been taught for so long to look outside of ourselves, to trust external forces. And now we're learning to trust ourselves again, for we know what is true for us energetically. Do things that bring you joy. Sometimes other things can just wait because for when you are in a more joyous state, which is your birthright, as is sovereignty, as is living authentically, everything else becomes easier. You can almost gamify it. Chores getting done, decisions to make. Joy comes first. Put a song on, do a dance, sing. For when you sing, you are toning your own body with your frequency. And the more you play with that and observe what happens around you, this is what I've been playing with for a few months now. I'm quite fascinated by it. Quite fascinated. And so I'll share more as I come to the close of it and any incoming the teachings and the benefits and the bonuses, but I can tell you it's reprogramming my subconscious into a new way because I use my statements. I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise. I see with my third eye. I attract versus chase. I choose authenticity and grace. Nature is my healer, and the divine is my dealer. And the divine is that beautiful energy that you feel right now. It's divine love, unconditional. It's never conditioned. Anyone that puts conditions on love is part of the matrix, so to speak, that we all have been raised in, and we're all rising out of right now as a collective. Some of you might be feeling a little hot. Some of you may have a gurgling tummy, be yawning. It's just energy moving. It's no right or wrong way. Yeah, Andrew, I bet you're tired. When we stop and relax for a minute, our body lets us know what it needs. But when we're always pushing to do and pushing to get done, it's a very different story. And we'll be also here at 4 o'clock in about 10 minutes. Norma Jean's going to pop on and we'll continue. But just take these few minutes for you and enjoy. Make sure you drink lots of water after this. And for anybody just jumping on, we're just doing some healing. So just take a moment and enjoy. And in about 9 minutes, we'll start with the regular program. This is an early program. This There's some extra energies going on for some people right now, and so we're just allowing, accepting and allowing. Did you know that fear and excitement are almost the same energy? Fear has been really ramped up in many at this time. And so, if you understand that fear and excitement, if you're doing something new, fear will always pop up a little bit. Just means you're nervous sighted. So, don't be afraid to push past that a little bit. I mean, when your life is in danger, that's when fear is probably most important because it gives you extra adrenaline. You're going to respond differently. But for the most part in our lives, there's very little of that except perceived fear of the future. And if everything is energy and it can't be created or destroyed, and we're always creating our reality, have you put any thought into how you want to feel in that new reality? Because you can lock that in now. You can future dream, right? We just don't want to be worried about the future and living there all the time. So it's important as we came into this vessel and decided to be on the earth at this time so we could use these senses to play with. And if we did not know hate, we would not know love, for example. So every emotion is as important. We just don't want to attach to them and make it a part of our story that we keep reliving. And so that's one of the gifts I have is assisting people in that through custom meditations. And you'll know when something feels right. The very core of your being. Maybe your heart starts to expand. And if we do more of what brings us joy, and that raises our vibratory state, and that sends out a frequency, which then brings in more of what we are sending out, we are attracting. Wouldn't it be smart to do some joyful things every day? Little practices, silliness, dancing, singing, whatever brings you joy. Might just be sitting in your yard and watching the garden or being in the garden. Might be doing arts and crafts. Maybe it's cooking or baking. For whenever we are so immersed in an activity that we are so very present in that time and space, everything else kind of disappears and goes away. That's magic. That's flow state. That's part of the law of attraction, which is mostly not taught properly. So we like to bring in those missing pieces for you. Hello, Shine from Denmark. Nice to have you. And the reason I do this is because it's part of my mission was first to focus and work on self, and that is an ongoing process. Nobody's ever done. All right, I'm all done now. No, it's always a work in progress. The more you up level, the more you choose, the more challenging it also can become for your whatever you resist, persist, but whatever you are meant to have as a lesson or you choose as a lesson, you remember you're going to find out both sides. It is not all love and light. It can be very challenging. There's days I don't even really do much except just sit with it. Oh, interesting. And there's some days that I'm frustrated. I don't understand why this is going on. And then after I'm done, working through it, it's like, oh, I know exactly why that happened. So making sure we're not judging ourselves. For when we judge ourselves, that's just harmful, right? If you can accept that every lesson or every decision, even if it's one you may regret a little, it was a lesson. You learned something. The biggest lessons I've learned are from making mistakes. The biggest lessons I've learned is from making mistakes. And so I cherish those because for when you make that error and it sticks. It sticks like crazy because you don't wanna do that again. "Oh, no, I've been here before. I remember this one." So it's remembering that in this game of life, you do have a lot of choice to make, but sitting in indecision, it's not a nice spot either. It's almost like you think about it, if water's in a pond and it's stagnant, what happens? It goes bad, right? So we wanna make sure that we're managing our energy, that we're making movement, that we're progressing, even if you realize afterwards, "Oh, I could have made another decision there." That's okay. No reason to beat yourself up. Yeah. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been waking up in the middle of the night for about an hour, hour and a half, and I don't take anything. I'm just like, it just is. And then I just sleep in a little more, or I make sure I nap a date. Yeah. Hello, Tango. And when you're ready, you can come on back in by taking a few more deep breaths and wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes. I know that I'm all vibing high now from that. So this energy works through me. And so it comes from me to you. It doesn't drain me. I'm not doing it. I'm like a conduit. So for some reason, I'm picking up the cards. So if anybody has any questions today, we are open to whatever questions you may have or you would like to discuss. We are here for you. There's something specific you wanted to tap into today. And look who's here. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, Norma.
How's it going, T?
Good. I'm all knee. I'm sure you can
I
feel
bet you are.
it.
Happens every time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just wrapped up. Everyone's feeling good. Hopefully. They haven't all commented. I think some might still be drifting. Drifting's a good thing. Yeah. 3 hummingbirds came and buzzed around my head. Nice. Beautiful. I had a huge dragonfly yesterday come flying in my window. I was in the driver's window. I was like, "Oh, you wanna land on me?" But he's just saying hello. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Norma, what have you been, working on today?
Oh, wow. It's something very that's come through that is very important for women, but more speaking to the feminine essence and the power that the feminine energy really represents. And it was something that just came through, and I'm creating at the moment a way to have a CTA to call out to women for a specific experience they may have had that I know I did, and I've spoke to it before, but I'm just working on that and staying focused on that and assisting, where I can with the ones that reach out to us, and doing the best doing the best I know I can, given everything that I'm coming into, and um, allowing that to really settle within me and transform
Yeah.
me, and be able to bring forth as much as I masterfully can. Everyone's a innate ability to get to know who they are by ways of recognizing that they are the centered, oriented
Mm-hmm.
position, that it begins from where they are, the point that they stand, because they are that point, because they are that center of everything that's going on around them. So just plugging in and tuning in and toning up and frequencying out,
Yep.
all those
Yep.
good things. How about you,
Tango,
T? What you been up to?
good. Tango's just saying huge shift last night, back to super high vibes. So we've been talking about this energy roller coaster for some of us that are quite aware of it. And as you go through this healing process, you will find, and your vibration will increase, and then you become more aware of when you're way up here versus way down here or somewhere in between, but realizing it's like a wave, and it's going to come and it's go. You can't stay up here all the time. It's not sustainable, nor can you stay down here all the time. That's not sustainable either. So sitting into a more neutral balance. We have a special question here from Freedom Liberty Lover. Is it for my highest and best good to divorce my husband? I don't want to be rash and would like confirmation that I'm pursuing the right direction.
That comes down to how you feel. What does your heart tell you? At this point, my best suggestion is sit with yourself for as long as you need, so that you may be able to come into the answer of on your own, because you're the one that's living your life. You're the one that's with you. You're the one that is feeling everything that's going on, given your environment, and what that environment was giving you each day, as far as where your husband's concerned. So that's my suggestion. This is all going to have to be up to you. Nobody else can guide you in that way, as far as what's going to be in your best interest. Everybody can have their perspective or their opinion about what you have shared with us here. So all I can say is that, from me to you, I offer you my love, my understanding, that if it can do anything, is to be able to assist you in understanding and making a choice that is for you and you alone.
You already know the answer, love. You already know the answer. So I'm connected to Melanie right now. Okay, clear. Thank you. For those of you that don't know, the rod is like energetically confirmation for yes and no. And so I can show you now. Please show me a yes. Clear. Thank you. Please show me a no. And it doesn't move. Okay, so that's my yes and my no. I can do that with a finger and thumb. Show me a yes. Show me a no, please. And a no goes back and forth. And so you can also do that with your body. There's many ways of dowsing. But as I'm connected to Mel, and I know Mel well, does Mel already know the answer to her decision? So, yeah, you already know. But do feel free to reach out if you want to talk it out, so to speak. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. Yeah. Mel's part of our membership. So Absolutely. Hello, Cindy. I woke up the other day and didn't recognize where I was. It was a dark room with bodies on tables. I looked around and then it returned to my room where I live. It was so weird. I can still see it. You know, we've talked about this too, that we all travel at night, right? Our energy, our consciousness goes about and does other things. So whether are you dreaming or are you traveling per se? And so if everything's vibration and time is not linear, time is like a wave, and science is proving all of this at the moment. You see lots of things about we live in a simulation, right? So what we've been led to believe might not all actually be in fact true. So we certainly don't want to mandate anyone believe what we believe, but definitely. So I would get that you were traveling and I would draw it out. And then I would ask more questions around it. Yeah, you got this. And thank you for sharing. The rods fascinate you. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So if I'm really tapped in with someone, I can dose for them as well. But I don't want to do that on here. So hello, Eddie from over in Australia. Good to see you. Absolutely. All right. Who else has any questions before we? I don't know. I was talking about energy earlier. And so you guys keep putting questions in. I will watch the chat. And I was explaining how even though we can't see how our cell phones work, or we don't know how we get zapped when we get a shock, or why a dog barks at one person and then runs over to another one, but it's all based on energy. And so can you expand on in your way on that?
Yes, of course. You know, when when the concept of this place came to be, in the beginning, everything was energy, and that's all it was. As we continued to evolve through time, things began to be defined by symbology, mathematics, ways to be able to express to new souls arriving here to understand what this organism, this beautiful place called Earth, and at the time it was probably named something else, represented, for them to be able to come in and have this this experience in what you call the school of Earth, the school of manifest. So as time has gone on, more and more things have become defined. So we go to that, we find that there's, you know, the astral realms, but in those astral realms, they call them celestials, they call them deities, they call them gods, they call them daemons, they call them demons, they call them sibyls. So as we're going through all this, we come to understand that everything that is being spoken to, at least what I've come to understand and all the research that I'm doing and still doing, is I've come to recognize that when we define, when we come to as a human species, when we begin to define things, that's where we begin to become confused with things, because the ones who knew of this information withheld it from us. And as time has gone on, that's where, you know, the term comes into, or the statement comes into play through the Bible and through other, you know, books, that they confuse us with our language. They confused us through language by incorporating other languages into, you know, the countries or the small little places they would go in and conquer, so to speak. So, you know, as time has gone on, we've taken something so simple and we've created complexity from it. And, you know, through that complexity, we're having to work from, like what you would say, from outside to get back inside to understand the order of that. Everything that works with us is just energy. And in that energy, we're in a place of manifestation where there's duality. And there's duality because duality gives us contrast. And through contrast, we're given the chance and opportunity to make choices each day. Is
each minute, each second.
Every second and every moment, every day, you have a thought. And from that thought, you have a chance and opportunity to be aware of those thoughts, and you can choose from those thoughts. But there's also, in that, is understanding that as you come along and you're understanding that your best interest is always at heart. And the purpose and the reason for that is because that's where the fullness of the soul that you are when you came to be with this vessel resides. So when they say this is a fight for your mind, it is, but not at the ways that they're showing you, in the ways that they're still in a way kind of manipulating others into thinking that this is how we do this, when all it comes down to is your feelings and how you feel. And when we begin to allow ourselves to be that observer, and we don't have those judgments, and we gain the love for ourselves to want to know the choices that we're making, and entering, recognizing what those choices represent for us, that just because you're given a choice, you can recognize a choice, but you don't have to allow it to be one that you choose. Because what's your heart telling you? Your feelings are your navigation. They tell you exactly where you're at, which will give you a chance and opportunity to understand where to go. We have guides, and those guides are the energies, and they can assist us and guide us by helping us recognize things we may not fully understand in our immediate environment. So when you become center person oriented and start there, you're starting at that point where everything begins where you are, because anywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine that decided to move to Salt Spring Island and rented a place there and took her boat over, but kept her place here and was going back and forth. And she had this grandiose vision of, when I do this, this will happen. And came short to realize it doesn't matter where you go. You can change everything external around you, but change really begins within. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful statement to have. A couple more comments over here on Rumble. So, Earth Biscuit saying, love to whoever's out there that needs it right now. Someone is hurting over a loss, though not recent. Absolutely. There's a lot of loss going on.
Yes.
Eddie says, I've got a sore neck, and that's not a simulation. Ouch. No, you know what? There's a lot of that going on right now. A lot in the neck area. And so some good releases for that. One is stop driving, get off the phone a little bit, because both of those things are hard on the neck, right? Any forward movement or being on a computer is also good. I do a stand tall, and then I drop my arms side to side, and I let my neck slowly drop with it. You can also massage this particular muscle here is very prone, and then there's one in the front here too. So you can massage those or put some oils on them. That would benefit. That would help. Absolutely. And yes, Eddie's also saying, love the research y'all do. Norma, you have more on organs. Yes, we could go on all day. We're going to save organs and the planets and the cosmic clock a little bit, because that cosmic clock is moving along. Although we would say that it's also moving within you. So you have a choice on where you want to be on that clock. Yeah. And heart navigation. Absolutely. If you always ask, what would love do in this situation? If you just bit your tongue before you reacted to something by saying something you really didn't want to say, and just bit the tip of your tongue a little bit, especially around family on holidays, and just give it a minute, take a breath, and realize that responding and reacting doesn't serve anyone, but giving it a minute and responding will, by far. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Chrissy, I do a whole sequence of events, combination of yoga, qigong, tai chi. We can incorporate that 100%. So she's just asking if we would ever consider. Absolutely. We would love to. Yeah. It's just those little things. So I do Pilates, but even that, I'm like, nah, I think it's time to even pull out of that, because it's still pushing me in specific days. And yeah, I save Kribas. So what does this start? Yeah. So go ahead, Norma Jean.
Yeah,
put the question back out.
Yeah, okay. The starting point you already have, you see, because you're asking the questions. We know that you already begun, just from what we've been able to have interaction with you, Kreba. And here's my suggestion. Go with what interests you about self. Whether that be that you do a little bit of research into, say, your horoscope, which basically is astrology. Because with enealogy, it's just a combination of the information, and that's the Enneagram, the numerology, and then understanding the energy of the celestial bodies, the zodiac signs, and the 12 houses in which they are in, depending on what's going on as the planet moves and the celestial bodies move. So there's still a lot that I'm researching right now. As you can see, as I've been posting on Telegram, I'm reading a Dane Rudder book right now, and it's the astrological houses. And there's much to this, and I'm having an enormous amount of fun getting a little more intimate, so to speak, about understanding the energies in which we are in this playground, having the chance and opportunity to understand. Is that energy the monkey bars? Is the energy the slide? Is the energy the tilt-a-whirl? Whatever it may be, is the energy over here playing a basketball game or a football game? Is kind of like a concept like that when we begin to understand the playground in which we are here upon this beautiful organism in the manifest, having these experiences. So what is it that really interests you about what would you like to know about you? Because as you understand and come to take this information in, it's going to tap into the knowledge and the wisdom that is within you, because that's where you are. And so just my suggestion is just go with what your heart's telling you to go with. So it's like, ooh, that right there is moving me. I'm going to try that.
Yeah. And for me, I can say it's all valuable. And I'm the one that takes a little bit here and a little bit there, but I don't take it all as truth and fact, because I always go, okay, how does that make me feel? Where am I at with that information? Yeah. And then I'll revisit it a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, and see what's shifted. And so any information I've done, whether it be numerology, enealogy, astrology, readings, I have a few people that I'll go to for specific things. I always take that information, and it depends on how they energetically affected me the first time when I first met them or saw them online, as to how connected I was with them. And to me, that's that energy. Oh, we resonate. And as soon as we start speaking to somebody like musical breath work, or John, who's going to come on and do some tarot, or Tamara with the astrology, where we got the readings, we're going to have her come back on and give us an update on Canada and the US. But just really enjoying the process of self-discovery. And so, yeah, I mean, Norma Jean can get you started with the enealogy for sure. And we can get you hooked up with Tamara for the astrology. I love her. And I've also looked at, it depends on what you resonate. So is it Western? Is it Eastern? And then what was the other one? There was another one. And there's some people that don't even, no, sidereal's more Eastern. Tropical's more Western. There's yet another one. Anyways, it's irrelevant at this point. And Chrissy, for wanting to jump on and join for some morning sessions. So I would say this: if you want to reach out and message me, however you are on social media. Sorry,
I gotta go check on the timer going off over here. There's something cooking and it smells really good.
That's banana bread. Yeah, Chrissy, if you could just message me, and then I can set it up so that you can we can set something up that works for you and for others as well. So yeah, I'll come on. I did some alchemy today. Used up some bananas and used up some sour cream that I happen to have for something, and I was like, oh, this needs to get used up. Sour cream banana bread. It's really, really good. And I don't eat banana bread normally, but I do bake with Italian flour, and I use cane sugar. So even I am not like this around rules of what I consume, because I didn't come here to be this, well, I'm only this way and I'm this way all the time. I play. I like to enjoy. I like to eat good food. I like to, you know, eat out sometimes, relax, enjoy life. You're welcome, Christy. Is it Vedic? Yeah, Vedic is one of them for sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Cindy. That's great. And Andrea fell asleep. Good for you, Andrea. That was then what was needed. You were just out in public at a fair today with a whole bunch of different energy and everybody like jacked on sugar and flying high. I bet you needed a nap when you got home. I would have. 100%. So good for you. Absolutely putting yourself first. All right. So let's talk about maybe a little bit more about where to start with all this. Do you have that information in regards to the overview of the laws of the universe?
Yeah.
Just to tap into it, not to deep dive into it, but
Of
just
course.
to tap. Yeah.
Give me just a second here.
So, we all know there's 10 commandments in the Bible, and we all know that the Bible maybe isn't always speaking all the truth, and that it was rewritten by Council of Eddie knows.
Nicene.
Nicene, thank you. And rewritten so that the people were easier to control. If we look at religion is about following something outside of yourself, contributing your dollars to it, putting somebody up on a pedestal. And spirituality is all about, it's the inside job. And yes, you may have somebody that you can guide with or can guide you, or a collective of people that you can communicate with, but there's no hierarchy. If you were to be in a room with me, it's always a circle. And it's a circle for a reason, because then we're connected. And everybody's valuable. Every comment, every insight, because it's their perspective. And it's so beautiful when you learn how to really truly hear people, here to listen, not here to reply or respond, but here to listen. It's very heart opening. Yeah, it's really heart opening, and it's beautiful because everyone's got these most amazing perspectives. The amount of people I've met who are on some sort of path or not a path at all, but just living life. And I'm always fascinated by what makes people joyous and tick, or maybe what they're frustrated with. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. So if you can find that commonality with people, it makes it much easier to be out in the world these days. Yeah. You got that, Norma?
Yeah, I've got it. Actually, I had it in my file.
Yeah.
So I've just got it up here in the file. So what would you like for me to go over?
So you have to choose present down below.
Oh, you want me to put it up? Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's show it. Show
All
and
right.
tell. We're going to do a little show and tell. I love show and tell. Did you guys have show and tell as a kid? I used to love taking something to school to show and talk about it. I used to have, I don't know who remembers Garfield. We were all Garfield fans, right? But I had the little bear. I had Pookie. I had the little, I remember taking that to school. Anyways, random thought. But, show and tell was a good thing. We all had an opportunity to public speak, to get ourselves out there. Yeah.
Can you see that?
I can see that. If you can make it full, I make it full screen.
That is full screen.
Is it? Hold on, let me just check something.
Yeah, I can't see anything. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay, I'm just pushing it to full screen. There we go. Okay, so you won't see us, but I'm assuming you can all hear us, correct? I hope you can still hear us. Normally when it kicks us out of the screen, that's what it means.
Well, I can hear you, but
Well, that's a good thing. If you can hear me, then everyone. All right, go ahead and flip through it. So go to the next one. I'll be your voice here.
No. This is all the laws right here.
Oh, all I see is the astrological houses.
Oh, okay. I see. Hang on.
Oh shit!
That's what I'm saying. I can't see the screen, so I don't know what you're seeing and what I'm not seeing.
That's okay. That's okay. So you just might have to switch that out. Tango over on Rumble says, once you learn how to listen to your body, you can almost get all the answers you need. Just slow down and move your consciousness inside and listen. Awesome. And I'm just clearing for Norma Jean. All right.
Well, let's see.
That's all right. If you don't have it, that's okay. Take your time.
Let's see.
Well, I'm going to bring us back on anyway.
Yeah.
This is a book that Norma's reading right now. Norma's doing a show and tell on her book.
Right.
And it's quite fascinating because the more she learns, the more I learn as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm having a problem finding them. The only thing I have is I have it in front of me because I have it on. Let's see.
Well, then that's okay. We're just going to remove this.
Okay.
We're going to go like this. Go ahead and read one out. And then after you read one, let's have a discussion so that we can turn it, look at it from all angles and share. So these universal laws come in because they've been around forever. And if they resonate, they'll make sense to you because you'll feel that it's truth for you. So go ahead, Nora.
Yeah. When I look at these universal laws, they're not they're not far from the Hermetic principles. They're just expanded. They're kind of singularized, so to speak. So that's what they're about. So the first one is law of divine oneness. So that is in the understanding is everything is interconnected. Every thought, action, and event is connected to everything else.
Absolutely. And so you can look at it like a spider web almost, right? It's all energetically connected. And we do talk about this quite a bit. And let's just play a game for those of you that maybe are not quite resonating with this yet. That's okay. But I believe that we are all small. Our consciousness is like a little seed from what is called source, the divine creator of all. And so, okay. As the story goes, to the best of my recollection, there was a wave of energy, and that wave of energy collided. A spark happened, and a consciousness was created. It knew itself, but it was all alone. It only knew itself. And that can get pretty lonely if you're all by yourself all the time. You know, I'm thinking about a couple movies with somebody with not a great analogy, but being on a desert island by yourself, right? How you'd be talking to the monkeys, you'd be talking to the trees, you'd be talking to the ocean, right? Being by yourself. And so this energy split and then split and split and split. And so you think about it, when a family has children, the mother's having more children, it's not unlike that, but this is infinite and this consciousness goes on. So if we are all pieces of this original consciousness, that means we are all interconnected. And if energy is connecting everything and you get a vibration when you're around somebody, you know whether or not you like somebody or you think you're going to get along, you know in your gut. So that's reading energy. And so as we go through this, we're all connected. It also means that we're connected to the trees and the animals, right? Everything has a consciousness. It might be a simulation, as we like to say, or been gamified, but it is still living and breathing. And so to just call it a simulation or just call it a game, it's not fully accurate, but it's a very intelligent creation that's been created for us. Nature has everything we need to heal, everything. So the more connected we become with ourselves and then with everyone else and everything else, the more at one we will be. And then you really have a hard time being angry at somebody because you just know they're just where they are because I was there one time too, right? I've been there. I'm so grateful I'm not there anymore, but I can understand where they're at. Yeah. Norma?
Oh, yeah, of course. Where the law of divine oneness comes into play for me was when I hit that space and place that I didn't know who I was. I probably felt more alone than I ever could have. And it's funny that you even mentioned that word alone, because when you look at the way that word is put together and then you expand upon it, alone actually is a loan. It's like you get to a space and place within yourself where it's like you can't keep expressing outwardly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you were speaking of that, it was like, whoa, I got this like huge download. It was like, okay, so alone does not represent to me what the English language speaks to. A
Mm.
loan is a loan where you get to a space and place within yourself that it's time for you to begin to understand more about self and go back in within oneself. So you take out a loan from this activity, from this manifested place of so much information. And you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to have to take out a loan for time with me. So, whenever you spoke to that, I was like, whoa, because for me, doing etymology and understanding the origins of words is so vitally important, because that's where you begin to understand where the manipulation of words started coming and happening and all that. So, the divine oneness begins with you. It's about getting to know, who am I in all this? And the only individual that's going to be able to tell you who that is you. It's you that has to understand that energy that you are. And through this process, I mean, when I began this process, it was like, man, there were times it just felt so daunting, but it was exciting at the same time, because even though I was still going through it and I was doing the best I could to utilize the information that I was taking in to understand more and more about, how to approach life differently. It was that over time, because I was given that time back to self to have and gain a bit of information or knowledge to give me a better foundation to start from, even if that was just a small stone, because those small stones lead to big stones. So, yeah.
And even small stones send out big ripples.
Gotta start somewhere.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, no matter where you're at, you guys, you're right where you're supposed to be. Everyone, there's people that have been doing this way longer than me, way longer than Norma, that have been, trying to navigate this world. It actually become way easier, in my opinion, over recent years to navigate here than perhaps even 10 years ago. Yeah. So, but I guess that does, I don't know for sure, because that was me 10 years ago. Now this is me now. And so maybe it's just me that's changed enough that I go, oh, but there's some really good collective stuff going on at the moment too. All right. What's the second one?
The second one is law of vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates at a specific frequency.
Yes.
Energy.
You are your own frequency. So just like your thumbprint, you have your own vibrational frequency. No two are the same. No two people have the exact same perspective. They're as unique as a fingerprint or a thumbprint, and that I believe is completely done intentionally. So a lot of we were talking about reading energy earlier. Yeah.
And distinctness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can play with the energy. If you take your fingernails and you go like this and rub them together, you can feel that vibration. You can also rub your hands together. Those are just some examples. And then imagine a little energy ball right between your hands. Just keep playing with it. Make it a little bigger. Can you feel the edges of it? It's just these little things that we do that become so much more.
It's profound that you bring it forth that way, because this brings us back to when was it, back in I guess it was around after 2005 that we started understanding more and more about quantum physics and how quantum physics works and things like that, and how any and everything that seems as though you're touching something, you really aren't touching it in the way that you think you are, because it's energy. This is just a solid energy. So when we're touching things, it's more of that. It is that magnetism. It is that electrical vibrations and frequencies that are interacting with one another. So even whenever we are close to someone and we're holding someone's hand, or we're even touching ourselves, for us we feel solid. It's like, oh yeah, it feels pretty solid to me here. It doesn't feel like there's anything in between here. But when we're interacting with others, it's more of an energy exchange, because what's happening is because we're of the same material, we're of the same makeup. To interact with another human being, as far as where touch is concerned, is a little different than it is for me to sit here and touch this mouse. So
Awesome. And yes, so this is Eddie over in Australia. Is if the skin is the largest organ of the body and your skin knows what's going on around you first, it just takes time to get it connected and realized. But if you're in a shit situation and there's something watching you, all your hairs stand up. It's like, whoop. So yes, Earth's surface is the largest organ, and trees are like hairs. Right? Your hair is silica. Silica is used as a conductor.
It's our first defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Eddie, for bringing that up. All right, on to number 3.
Number 3, law of correspondence. Patterns repeat throughout the universe. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm.
Yeah. And so we can look at it like a seashell, right? Everybody's familiar with the Fibonacci sequence. And we can look at that in creation of all. It's there. It repeats. It shows itself. Same with the flower of life. Tetrahedron. There's many shapes, all these sacred geometry, which keep showing up and are consistent. There's a reason why their attention and intentions put towards them is because you can see it. And once you know it, you can't unknow it. It's one of the most beautiful things about life, right? Is once you know something, you just can't unknow it. And so how else would you say that correspondence relates? So everything that's, even from the tiniest thing up to the biggest. So we look at the cosmic clock that we have, right? And we can take that right down into smaller versions of it within us.
Well, and, when I look at it, when we look at the laws and we see how they're put out,
yes,
the law of vibration is before the law of correspondence. And when we come to understand that patterns repeat throughout the universe, that means that they begin with us.
Yes.
So whatever thoughts, emotions, feelings, reactions, actions, whatever's taking place, vibrates out. So it doesn't just remain here with us, especially if we are expressing that emotion. So as we come to understand how to become one and understand the dual choices that we get to make, because it's just merely contrast, then we come to understand the vibratory frequency or state that represents, given who we are, and we're coming more in tune with this vessel, because this vessel is that way of showing us the feeling and what it's representing. Then we know that with the correspondence, that the pattern that you are, whether it's happy, sad, glad, elated, joy, angry, we are expressing that. But to understand that it's a patterns that repeat throughout the universe, what we're doing is we're holding that resonance by continuing to understand that through that expression of those feelings, that we are keeping things in balance. It doesn't matter what you're expressing, just understand that expression is what holds that balance as we send it out.
That's absolutely. Oh no, and it's not unlike, there's if you're in a river and there's a rock in the middle, everything will go around it, but it's also smoothing it out. So it will adjust around things that are solid, but and it will also, I've seen when we were watching the waterfalls in the water, how the resonance, I was like, there must be a rock there, but it wasn't. It was the vibration coming this way and then pushing back out. So there's always this ability to play with the vibration, with the energy, with this continuation. Go ahead with number 4.
Beautiful. It shows us it shows us, it shows us everywhere if we're paying attention. And you really,
Yeah.
it's like you get so just beautiful and profound when you can connect with that and understand that that's something that's going on within you, and you're expressing the same. It's just the water is showing us that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's profound that you even brought that up. Beautiful. Thank
Now
you.
they're showing me that pine cone that we saw at the beach yesterday. We've seen another tree that we'd never seen with like black pine cones with little tiny green spikes that were quite bright. And then of course I touched it. I was like, I got all sappy, but it smelled really good, didn't it?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Good.
You know, it's
Getting
fresh,
to know
it's
the tree
new.
with the tree.
Yeah, it's like if you look at the tree and you recognize what's going on, you know, at least for you and I, because you know where we are in the frequency that we're vibrating at, we're coming into what seems to be the experience, which is funny because the fourth law is the law of attraction. That like attracts like, your thoughts and feelings attract corresponding experiences. It's beautiful that you brought that up before I even spoke to what the next law is. Okay. So just having that is just a reflection of that. We are, you know, we're always in that position and place of having new experiences.
Yeah.
So through those new experiences, what is being reflected back to us, and that was a beautiful, beautiful just for you to have brought that up, because it is perfect for the law of attraction to understand that that's what we're doing, is just vibrating in that frequency. Show me something new. Show me something that, you know, speaks to what's happening within me. Reflect that to me, that I'm changing, that, you know, I'm going to start smelling better, or, you know, or whatever it may be, you know, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, Norma Jean knows how big I am I'm alchemizing all the time. I have all different kinds of resins. So some from Mexico, and a whole bunch like amber or myrrh, which is similar. And sage. I really love to use the senses as part of a ritual, not a witch ritual or anything. It's to bring me to this moment, to bring me into this space in this now. So that and the singing bowl and toning, those all keep me really present. But they also, every time you have a scent, it's like your body has a memory that comes with it, and like it's an automatic. And so for me, scent's really important. And even, you know, got this one spray. This one's called Unconditional Love. Then I drive Norma crazy with some of this, but that's okay. She'll live. This one's for aura cleansing. And these come from a beautiful shop in Vancouver that I really like. And then I got another one here. This one's called Agarwood. And Agarwood is really good for grounding. So depending on how I'm feeling and what's needed, and Blue Lotus from Egypt is good for your pineal. You know, I rely on that. I'm got a crystal sitting here. Ashala gave this one to me for my birthday. It's malachite. It's really beautiful. Malachite's meant for manifestation, so it's sitting right here. And then, of course, I've got my malachite bracelet sitting on top of it to just amplify it even more. So this is how I play. 444. Nice work, girl. She's like, oh, I'm going to get her. She's busy talking. We have a game that we play around the numbers of the time. And Jade's in on it now too, my daughter, and Tango put on their chat 444.
See, it's beautiful. The synchronicities, you know, it's
right.
Awesome.
So, and the law of attraction, just to give a little bit more on this one, you know, when I first watched that movie, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. Right. And it gives you a little uplift, and you're trying a bunch of stuff, and this doesn't fucking work. But there's pieces missing. And so that's one of my gifts right now, is to fine tune this process and then show you guys, look what I create, like what I can create with this. And I know I'm creating in every moment. I know that. But when you get specific about something, nobody said how long it's going to take now, did they? And so start small. Start with little things. Start with things that are attainable and believable to your mind. Because if you're going way up and over and your mind won't believe, it will hold you back. and make sure you're putting actionable, positive words to it, not like I don't want. So you don't want to talk about what you don't want. You want to focus on what you do want. And you can make a list and you can speak it out, sing it out, but feel it out as if you already had it. And so it may take some time, but definitely take some space, because the universe doesn't go by our clock, that's for sure. But everything happens in divine timing, and so that would be the most important part about that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So the next one that is in order is law of inspired action. Taking action towards your goals is necessary for manifestation. And as T just pointed out, these laws are in order. If you really
Yes.
understand that, these laws are in order as to how they're being presented to you for a reason.
Yeah.
Because when we understand the order that they are put in, that it begins with us, then we understand our frequency and our vibration, and then we understand that thoughts are repeating patterns. That, when we begin to understand the repeating patterns, we recognize habits, and then we formulate greater and better habits by raising our frequency, because we're becoming more one with ourselves. Then we begin to attract things that show us that in our environment. Then we can take the action towards understanding how to create the manifestation of the things that we have, the thoughts that we choose them from, and get a little more intentional about how we can not utilize things like, well, I don't want this, or I don't want that, or I want it this way, without having expectation, just having a feeling of an experience and having the image with, the connectiveness of the feeling of what it would feel like if I was there right now.
Right? Yeah. I have to be careful about some of the future dreaming that I do around things, because yeah, Jade pulled me back on one. No, we want this. I'm like, okay. She's very firm in what she wants. And so did everyone get that? It's very closely, if not in, like there's a small bridge there to bring you, here's the next level of it. Right? And once you get there. So go ahead, Norma. Next one.
All right. The next one is law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Energy is always moving and changing form.
Absolutely. And so we do know that. So again, a good analogy is like a waterfall. You're not going to stop the waterfall. It's already in motion, but is the water going, oh, I don't want to go down there, pull me back? No. it's just allowing. And that transmutation of energy is such a beautiful thing, because I know when I'm not in my center, it's up to me to fix it and change it. Can't rely on anything else to do it. And so I know, get your ass out in nature, or, today it was eat a bit of food.
And what's even more profound about that you mentioning, the water thing, is that even Earth knows when to yield.
Right?
Because of the force that water has. It's like, no, I'm going here. I have to, because I can't hold this back, because it's just, let's go. So, even Earth knows when to say, okay, and let's go. It releases. It just allows, because this is just the natural order of things.
Okay. I have to add this now. So even underground water, ley lines they're often related to water, often, right? And they're energy lines. So you think about that, and all sacred sites that we're aware of at this point are built upon crossing points of very powerful energy centers and energy lines. And this is going to become more and more commonplace to be aware of where you're living, right? How it aligns with you, maybe from your astrological, your astrocartography. You will become more aware of this as we move forward, and you will find out that the places where you have lived are very likely, if you enjoyed them, very likely on important points for you. And so you will feel better there. There's a reason why the pyramids are where they are. There's a reason why, right? Specific cathedrals are built where they're built. And so this will become really powerful. And I'm very familiar with ley lines. It's one of my gifts to play with and to share that. And I'm very excited to go back to Egypt with that particular thing in mind and to capture more of that when we go back with Ashala. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you were speaking to that and bringing that forward because, as you was talking about the energy lines and things was, I'm always looking at it as like when we change the energy within us, imagine what we're doing as we are interacting with our, this environment. So everywhere we go, if we've shifted the energy lines within us, the meridians,
yes,
because that's a part of the circulatory system in the nervous system, you see. So as we're shifting that within us, and as we move across this organism that we're so in tune and connected to, imagine what we're doing when we get to the space and place and we say, okay, like for example, living, close or within a city, and you're like, oh, I can't take the energies here anymore. Then what you do is you move out of that place because you're in a higher frequency and vibratory state and you're changing so much within you. Imagine that when you leave from that place and you move to a new place, you're shifting the energy lines there. You're unplugging from that place because they plugged there in the first place for a reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of sense. So think about that, guys. What she's saying is, well, and you can imagine, all right, the flood of souls going to specific points right now is disrupting what was an energy flow for you. And now you're pulling back out and going elsewhere because it no longer resonates with you. Beautifully put. Oh, yeah.
Hence the reason why they keep bringing up 15-minute cities. Because we're becoming more attuned to who we are, to the place, to space that they know we're eventually the ones of us before this, they want to,
right,
whether it's real or not, initiate this, we're going to be gone before that happens. Because you're not going to tell me where I can take and be and all that with my energy. And you're definitely not going to take it from me anymore. I'll blow this place up. Boom. I'm just saying.
I know. All right, we got off the rails a bit there.
We did.
Roll it back in.
Okay, where was it? Okay. The funnest one of them all.
What
the
number?
Law of cause and effect. Every action has a corresponding reaction.
Number 7. Thank you. Every action has a cause and reaction. That one should be pretty simple, really. Yeah. So, but it also makes you more aware of not being reactive and instead waiting and responding. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Earth Biscuit's also saying the water in cities isn't alive either. No, absolutely. And Eddie says WW 2355 senses are aware. 5D senses, maybe 5 out of 5 senses are aware. Yeah, absolutely.
when we look at the law of cause and effect, who's the cause and what's the effect? Or what was the effect that created the cause?
Yep.
I always come down to figure out that, I'm usually the one that's the common denominator either way. So.
Okay, go on to number 8. Go on to number 8. That one's pretty self-explanatory.
All right. Law of compensation. You receive what you give. The universe compensates you for your efforts.
Yes, I agree. 100%. Yeah.
All right.
But if you're giving it away for really, no, I just want to put this out there a little differently too. It's not a but for the law of the universe. Just another option to remember.
It just made me think of Nemo.
Touch the butt.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is a running joke between us. I don't know why, but Jade's been in on it too. It just goes. So it's to make sure if you're giving and giving and giving, and you're not receiving anything in return, you're depleting your energy because there's not something to come back through. So it is important when doing things, especially let's say services, and not charging for them, that there is some sort of exchange coming back, whether it be some time, some space, a gift of some sort, because otherwise it does put things off balance and it will catch up with you. I'm speaking from personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, because yeah.
Whew, I'm getting hammered on that one. All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Number 9, law of relativity. Law of relativity. Everything is relative. Your perception shapes your reality.
Right. So that can also be compared to something in your reality. Everything is relative, right? But you have to be able to
Yeah.
perceive it for it to be relative to you. And
Right.
and so if it's not, if it's like happening across the world, given the fact that CGI and everything else is, if it's freaking down the street, I don't know if it's real half the time. So unless you're physically there observing, then yeah, it's super important, you guys. This is also managing your energy. All right, go ahead with the last one.
That's the reason why it's always important. Person-centered oriented. This will actually be number 10, and then we can finish up on the rest of them later.
Yeah.
Law of polarity. Everything has an opposite. Contrast is necessary for understanding or understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good and evil, love and fear, light and dark, warm and cold. It's quite often, you know, is there, such a thing? What was the terminology? There's such a thing as hot water. No, hot water is the absence of cold, or it was the other way around. But you get the idea.
Yeah, absence of heat.
Absence of heat.
There is
Right.
no such thing as really cold. It's just the absence of heat. Yeah.
Right, which is that's no such thing as dark because it's the absence of light. And so these are important ones to start to grasp, and your judgment of those things, however you perceive them, is also important to remember. Yeah. What?
No, it's just you're hitting me today with some of the things you're saying, because it's like when you're like, talking about that, when we define things, what happens is when we define it, then we've judged it. And the reason why I can even say that is because look at the courtrooms. We get fined, which leads to judgment. Because we've been fined for something we have no understanding of, because we don't truly understand the polarization of the contrast of the choices that we make. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. This is just so fun for me. I apologize, y'all. It's just like boom, yeah. And I try to bring it out for everyone to understand. But it's her fault.
This is part of knowing Soul Family, is we trigger each other to remember things. It's like ding, 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 ding. Yeah, and some days are much more. Absolutely. So Tango's saying, thanks, Normastien, for confirming something for me in our conversation we had while traveling, following Tanja at Mach 1. No, Tanja doesn't drive fast. I'm not driving. I'm flying my spaceship, my Orca spaceship. We saw Tango on the island. So yeah, that's what that comment's for. All right. Sending you all so much love today. Look up the 12 laws of the universe. See what resonates with you. Come to us with questions. No question is a silly question. No question is discounted, because we only know what we know until we learn about it. And so to just really keep questioning everything, but most of all, question your reaction and your thoughts around things. Don't forget to question yourself and your thoughts are not you. So remember that. That's my parting words of the day. Norma Jean?
Have fun. Stop taking things so seriously. Jesus. No, it's just okay. Look, it's taken me this long to get here to really fully recognize and remember that this is what I came here for. And I am having so much fun. And I'm not saying that there aren't days it's like I want to throw things. I'm human, but being able to know that each moment I get a chance and opportunity to make a choice, I have the free will to do that. And I get to choose which one, if any of them, when they're presented to me. Or I can create my own choice
Absolutely.
from what I have in my immediate environment, because that's what's important to me, where I am. Anything else that's going on, like I've said, and I'll continue to say, if it's not in my immediate environment, it's not real. Doesn't mean it's not happening. It just means it's not real.
Right? No, it's just like, energetic dragons. Ride my dragon.
It's real up here.
All right, you guys have a beautiful night. Go and enjoy and reach out with any questions. We're always happy to bring them up on the chat or answer your questions. So put them in the comments below. Remember to like the video and share it out if you feel it's relevant for